Hello everyone, how's it going? I am the average guy 1983. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible because my phone overheated right now. Just trying to record a 5-minute video, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. So, this is video part 2 of the JL system for the Ford Flex. I am now on row number 7 of the sound deadener material from Soundshield, from Mobile Solutions, etc. I went ahead and I already reinstalled this quarter panel here, and if you guys can see here, it looks perfectly well put on. Remember how I told you guys, to kind of relieve some deadener on this side, not to use any deadener on this little curve here. That is why, so you guys can be able to install your panels here with ease. So I was able to reinstall everything here. The rest of row number 6 was used for this entire panel here, so I covered everything up in the back. Pretty much the areas that wouldn't get affected by the panel being like against the quarter area here. So there's deadener here, in the bottom here too. There's deadener over here on this side, and then up here there's deadener too, but there is a gap in between this plastic and the plastic that's underneath that has the deadener material. So in the middle there's a gap which is very similar to the gap that's on the sunroof, which makes no sense for me to even try to take this thing down and try to get some sound deadening installed, because check this out. You see that? It's like if there is zero sound deadener, but there is underneath. But because the plastic that has a sound deadener underneath it has a gap in between this area and where the deadener is at, right in the middle here, it's like there's nothing there. But when you check, when you knock on an area that does have it directly on the plastic, it sounds like this versus this. So over here, I'm not going to add any sound deadener to this sheet metal area. And the reason why I'm not going to do that is because it's really crucial. The areas where the sound deadener is at, I added it onto the plastic panel, which is right here. So hopefully you guys can see this good. But here's where all the sound deadener has been added. And that little wire there is for ambient lighting for the trunk area for the third row. And right there you can see the way the Ford Flex stealth box looks, because I wanted to make sure that the sound deadening I added wasn't going to affect the installation of the subwoofer, and it did not. So you could use banana plugs. The maximum gauge wire you can use here is 10 gauge. So I do have 10 gauge wire running to this. And again, you can use banana plugs, but if you kind of notice right there on the side, if you try to use banana plugs and the banana plugs are angled in a certain way, you're going to have a hard time removing the subwoofer enclosure or even installing the banana plugs to begin with. So, just be real careful with that. And again, on the holes here for the stealth box, I recommend you use a step bit and don't use a regular drill bit like I did, because then you're going to end up getting this kind of damage, which I still have to eventually fix. But you can see it there. Right there. This is not a scratch, but right there. Those two little marks there, man, that was my fault. And that was because I went ahead and I trusted JL's word on using a drill bit. But no, use a step bit instead, so you won't have any of those problems. But look, you see how the back of the subwoofer box, it lands right on the edge of where these little plugs have to go into the sheet metal itself. This is exactly why I didn't want to do that. So why I don't want to have any kind of deadener installed in this area. So before I install that, let me go ahead and show you guys how I have everything here. So all the carpet has already been reinstalled, and this little area right here is where I'm planning on running the power and ground wires through. I am going to probably cut a slit somewhere here to travel the wires up this way, up to the top. So a slit here somewhere, like just a slice mark to get the wires to come in, and then have them go through here, up this way into this pocket here that's completely open. It's free. There's nothing blocking this area. And the cubby here in the back is already closed with all the wires that you can see for the Nintendo Switch and everything that's on here. It blocks absolutely nothing. So I'm going to try to use this spot here to run the wires from here, this amp rack, to the other amp rack on the passenger side, and hopefully that works. I still have these wires to run, but thankfully these wires don't have to run through that carpet. It only has to go for the power wire, the ground wires, and then the 2 RCA jacks that have to go in for the for the rear left and right subwoofer and the mid-range speaker line to the LC6 on this side over here. So let me go ahead, stop the video here because this is part 2 and I want to try to get some work done today. So we're going to see if the amplifier rack fits, and hopefully it does, because it's going to suck if it doesn't. I haven't measured it after all the install work that I did. But let's go ahead and get everything else done, and then I'll come right back to this video for the finishing part of part 2. There's going to be multiple parts because I still have to solder on those quick disconnects there. I have to solder on quick disconnects in the wires that are inside of the doors. So the speakers are going to be the last thing I install before I start tuning everything. So everything is here. The wiring for the output meters that are going to be going up there already ran. So the last thing I would have to do is tune them to the to match the gain setting that's on the amplifiers that are going to be used for those monitoring system crap thingies. So let's get to it, guys. Here we go. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So remember when I said that it was going to be a really tight squeeze and that I wouldn't recommend that you use any amplifiers higher than what I had originally said? Here's why. You see that? If it's right at the edge of that, look at that. But it's a really tight squeeze. So I still have to figure out how to push this cable in so I can get it to fit into this area here, so I can start wiring the power wire up in here, just like that. But yeah, look, the epicenter, the LC6 fits right underneath that. See? And this is what it would look like from the seat side here, just so you guys can see that this is how it's going to fit. So when you put your seat back on, you're not going to really be able to see it. Now, I am going to have to possibly, well, I can't remove this bracket here. I can't move this even though I wish I could. Or maybe I can if I just move this just a little higher. I'm not sure how I would be able to get that off so I can get to the bracket. But it seems like the bracket goes, oh no, it goes all the way across. Wow. Okay, no, I cannot. Okay, so this middle bracket bar, you can't get out because there's some bolts on the inside. You can kind of see them right there. I don't know if you can see them. Right there in the middle, there's some bolts. So it's a crossbar that goes all the way to the other side. So from there, over this hump, down to this end. So, shoot. So to be able to tune this, I'm going to have to lift up the amp, remove the cap from the top amplifier to try to tune the system, unless I can get this bracket off from one side and lift it up a bit. That's the only way I'm going to be able to open up the cap for the bottom, because here's how it looks like from the bottom. See that? So there's an amp down there. And the other HD 604 right there. You guys can see it. So I'm going to have to try to remove this cap here, and hopefully I can get it off. Let's see how this works. I'm going to try to take it off. Maybe if I remove the padding from underneath the rug, I should be able to get better clearance. So let me go ahead and go back at that, because those wires have to run, these power wires here that you see, they have to run in through there to the opposite side for the other amp rack. So let me go ahead and try to get that figured out, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so yes, I was right. So I got everything to fit in here. See how I have the power wire already connected to the fuse line. Got the Tweak 88 there on the side here, which fits just like that. See that? Minus this weird carpet strand. But see how it fits nicely in there? That's why I did my mold the way I did. Here's where the audio control LC6 will sit at. And it doesn't block the part here where my feet are, because my feet don't even reach this end here. AC vent in the bottom. It looks like it's blocked off, but it's not. I promise you it's not. You'll still get air coming out of here. Now I have to run these wires respectively where they have to go, which is basically to these ends here. And then the really colorful purple, green, gray, white, etc. will go to this speed wire, this 18 gauge speed wire, or I think it's 16. Is it 18 or 16? 18 gauge. See, there it is. 18 gauge from install bay. So that'll be going to these ends here. So I will be using female butt connectors right here for these corners here. And then I can go ahead and run all those wires across to the opposite side over there, which is just, again, the power wires and the ground wires. So I got to run those to the other side. But here's how the amplifiers look. Now I know there's a hump right here. The wires are going to be adjusted because unfortunately these wires have to run straight into this area here. So there's a piece of wood underneath this area with like about an inch of a depth in the bottom of that hole. So all the wires for this are going to go under here. I might have to spread them out individually so that the floor can look straight. But because of these quick disconnects, I shouldn't have any issues with anyone stepping on the wires. But and plus, since I chose to go full active, that's one of the reasons why I'm struggling here with the big 12 gauge wire. Maybe I should have done 14 gauge and it would have been a little bit easier on me. But there you go. I'm going to be able to put the caps right back on with no issues at all now that I have everything set down here. So everything, like you can see on these amplifiers, is all off. That's exactly how you want it. You don't want to mess with anything. Everything needs to be set to off. So the filter mode off, no high pass, no low pass, no 12 dB, no 24 dB. Everything that you see here on the controls are going to be ran from the Tweak 88. So the first thing I need to do before I power everything up is I need to make sure that I find my distortion point on the head unit, which for that I do need to disconnect the speakers because the ohm load of the speakers fluctuating back and forth with the sine wave depending on the volume will affect the distortion point and confuse the DD1 plus. So I got to make sure I disconnect all the speakers before I find out what the tuning is. After I find out what the tuning is, whichever 1000 hertz or 40 hertz comes first on the distortion point, then I set my gains here on the audio control LC6i. I'm going to run these at 7 volts each because that's what this Tweak 88 can handle up to. So for 7.1, so I'm just going to do 7 volts all across, and I'm going to have the first two set at 7 volts at 1000 hertz, and the third one, which is the very last one next to the LC letters in the bottom, I'm going to be running that one at 40 hertz but at 7 volts. And from there I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can run it up to the 7 volts before I hit any kind of distortion, that is. And then from there I'm going to start setting everything up from this point on, starting with all the frequency settings I need to set up on the speakers, etc. And also the same thing on the opposite side, which will be controlling the rear D-pillar speakers and the subwoofer. Now the door speaker here and the subwoofer will be the last speakers I will be connecting, because I need to make sure that I can program the gain settings on these amplifiers to the output meters up that are going to go up there and the top there. So all the wires are already ran. So now all I gotta do is just run these wires across this little pocket here, and I should be good to go on that. So other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video here, and I'm going to go ahead and go on with the second amp rack, get all that stuff together, make sure I remove the carpet padding underneath this one as well. Let me go across, well, just so you guys can see, there's the carpet padding. So this side is going to need the same treatment. Right here under here, this carpet padding is going to have to be completely removed. I'm not going to be able to keep this part. So cut off from this edge all the way across this way, all the way up to this end of the carpet here, this end that you see here. Take it all off if you're going to be installing 2 amplifiers. If you're going to do just one, you're going to be all right. But if you're going to do 2, like the way I'm doing, overkill style, you may want to take it off to have more space. So one more thing before I stop this video is I went ahead and I added some sound deadener to this area after all. After I added some, I was able to see that the subwoofer did indeed fit. There's how the inside looks all the way to the back. So hope you guys can see that. And I just added it on top just to dampen some of the noise that the subwoofer may make with vibration. So that's about it, guys. So I'm going to stop the video here, put on the other amp, show you guys how everything looks, and then hopefully by Friday I can have everything fully connected. The last thing I would need to do is just again figure out the distortion point, and I will record that. And because the DD1 Plus has a display meter on the inside, or on the display, it has a number meter, we can find out by volts how many volts does this radio take to get a distortion point at 1000 hertz and at 40 hertz. And then from there, maybe you can guide yourself with that if you don't want to get yourself a DD1 or a little oscilloscope, and go with that so you can find out your distortion point. Or you can just go ahead and go with the whole 3/4 volume deal, and either one, get distortion at that 3/4 volume, or 2, cheat yourself and more output by staying or capping yourself at the 3/4 volume. So we'll find out on later on another part of this video segment, but this is what it looks like so far installed. Well, not installed, just put on the floor. So it's a lot of wiring, and I have to cable management everything here. So unfortunately I can't do this on camera, but I want to thank you guys for for staying tuned with me on this, and we're going to continue on with this, and hopefully you guys get some kind of idea on how to do your own system, put it together and stuff. So that's it for now. Up onto the next part. Peace.